Hi everyone, I'm Amani. Welcome to the SDG webinar and mini project program by Icare Sustainably International. We're happy to see you all present here today, finding time between your busy schedules to change the world for better. So as you're having participants from all around the world, I know it's early in the morning for some people, late at night for some. So we won't be taking long with the webinar, but we will give you plenty of time to ask your questions and clarify the doubts. First of all, I dropped the link to photo consent form in the chat box. We'll be taking a group photo at the end of the session. So please go through the form and provide your consent if you would like to stay for the photo. Now we'll move on to a brief introduction about Icare.
Hello, everyone. My name is Caroline Nyarangi from Kenya. I'm the president of Icare Sustainably International. I wish to introduce a little bit about Icare, and I will speak about our mission, vision, and our work area. Our mission is to bring inspiration and innovation to the society for sustainable development. And our vision is to have a sustainable and an equitable development for every individual from disadvantaged conditions in the society in order to mitigate any differences in gender, race, social and economic, connecting academia with corporations tasked with the social and corporate responsibility towards an improvement of the environment and social capital. We focus on education, environment, and technology. Our mission and projects in relation to the SDGs. Our mission is anchored on sustainability. We also seek to alleviate poverty in disadvantaged communities through job creation and youth empowerment. That is seen on the Fish Project, Plastic Project, and the Icare Digital Academy, the SDGs for universities, and the webinar series. Our Fish Project addresses SDGs 1, 2, 3, 10, 13, 14, and 17. We are also focused on contributing to quality education through, which is SDGs 4, through the Bicycle Project, and the SDGs for Schools Project, which is connected also to the SDGs for universities. We highlight challenges faced at the grassroots level and propose innovative solutions through our guest articles, webinar series, and the Icare Digital Academy. Our key features. We are currently operating in 12 countries through our members, partners, and volunteers. We are also connecting researchers with local community workers. We are an ally of the Sustainable Development Solutions Network, and we also aim to replicate projects in multiple countries, especially in the Global South. We foster global connections, specifically among the youth, for a sustainable future. A glimpse of our projects, the current projects. We have the webinar series. We have the guest articles. We are also mentoring and the volunteers, and also interns in various leadership positions. So this project aims at nurturing the youth leadership for sustainable development. We also have a Pedal for Change, the Bicycle Project, which is, we aim to replicate a successful project that originated from Bogota, Colombia. We also have a climate smart fish farming technology. This is aimed at introducing omega-3 to the community, which has been lacking for a while. A few of our future projects. SDGs for universities. This is a continuation of the SDGs for schools, which was started back in 2018. We also have the Icare Digital Academy, which is being championed by our Vice President, Brian Dola, who is currently residing in the Netherlands. We also have the plastic recycling project, and we want to do it in Kakamega County in Kenya, and it is going to be aimed at providing jobs to the youth and also provision of livelihoods to the community. Icare is its people. We connect research to the local people through a holistic development for a whole sustainable future.
That was the presentation by Caroline, our president. Now maybe Jayanta from GFS, who is partnering with us, maybe you can tell something about your organization.
This is the Global Forum for Sustainable Rural Development, is partnering with Icare, and this is also new for us. Few of our members, they have joined today, so even it is new for them who are Icare. Similarly, it's a new for you to be Global Forum for Sustainable Rural Development. So Global Forum for Sustainable Rural Development, you know that the rural development, there are numbers of organization, institution, no doubt about that. But we try to make a platform where all those other international forum or organization and institution, they are focusing mainly on the agriculture. These are multi-governmental and other, but hardly any scope for that in the same platform where the government functionaries, the NGOs, they can work together at the policy levels and other. So that's why we started this platform to create a platform to bring the and link the rural development research policy and practices in one umbrella and lead advocacy to the sustainable rural development globally. So mainly, as the term indicates, but it is not the confined only to the rural area, because rural urban linkage is very important, and it's a compensatory, rather supplementary, complementary to each other. So with this, we started our journey, and the objective of definitely, as I mentioned, that is a broader platform. Now, mainly, this is trying to overall aspect, a different aspect related to rural development, no doubt about that. Mainly, we are going to, or already started, because it was started in December 2020. So it's just a few months, maybe you can say, but we are focusing on the research, action research with NGOs, policy dialogues, and the capacity building training, and the publication and documentary advocacy. These are the few activities we have identified. Now, let me tell you some progress that we have completed 5 global conferences on SDG 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. On each conference, there are average 500 registration, and altogether now we have reached more than 8,500 people from 117 countries. And also those SDG global conference, we also made the environment related conferences, international conference, 5 numbers of international conference on the environment issue, because it's a very crucial when we talk about the SDGs. And this last month we arranged in collaboration with another organization in India, that COVID warrior, international warrior, who are contributing to the corporate social responsibility, to the sustainable development goal, particularly the peace and other. And we have given award in their recognition of their contribution to the society, particularly during COVID period and the sustainable development goal. And recently, we are also working on the World Summit on SDG and CSR, where it will be done in the 25th of September in this month. We have also started some new activities like research in four identified area. We are making the pilot, and we will go as a cross country research on the COVID situation and its impact on rural education, similarly rural health infrastructure and COVID situation, then COVID situation and impact on informal sector, and similarly COVID situation and its effect on agriculture based livelihood. So these are the four core area we have identified, and recently we have tie up with one organization from Nigeria, the Art Holic, and we are developing digital course on the development sector, and we are starting uh, School of Development Studies, and expected to reach in 26 countries of Africa in the initial stage, and then we'll go for the Latin America and Asia also. So it's a 8 months journey, but we believe and work on the partnership basis. You can say it's a SDG 17, but we do on that because all our global conferences, there are more than 15 to 16 speaker from all the 5 continents, and also for 12 to 13 in an average organization, the specific topic wise, where we try to build up who are the successful implementing on the or the practitioner on various SDG goals we are bringing together. So with this small journey we have just started, and both the organization, we are sure that we have a huge number of resource persons in intellectual in the various field, both government, non-government, as well as the university level. So all together, I hope that in collaboration with Icare, this project will be huge successful, and will give all sorts of mentoring support to our whoever applied for this project. With this, over to Dollar.
Thank you, Jayanta, for your introduction of your organization. Now it's up to me to introduce to you the project we are now talking about. Let me share my screen. Because you all came here because you are interested in joining the Icare Global Week of Action mini project plan. So now I'm going to quickly tell you what that plan is all about, so you all know how you can join. Because the main aim of the project is that we believe that one small action by many people can have a big effect for everyone. That's why we want to motivate people to start their own mini project. So what is the mini project all about? Well, first, you are here. That is the first item of the mini project plan. That is the webinar where we'll talk about the Sustainable Development Goals for everyone who doesn't know about them yet. And we will tell you about how you can join the project. After this, after the webinar, you will get a registration form where you can tell us which project you want to do. And then we will connect you with a mentor, and together with that mentor in the coming 3 weeks, we will help you to execute your project for the Sustainable Development Goals. And after that, this 27th of September, there is a deadline for the project report. And when you hand in the project report, we will create it into an ebook. And in the report, you will talk about the method and the outcome and stuff like that. Because with the ebook, everybody can learn of your project and get inspired. And the 8th of October, you can already put it in your agenda to not miss it, but we will also email you about it. We will publish the ebook in a live meeting, and we will also give out certificates for everybody who completed the mini project. And yeah, that's it. So now in the chat, I will share with you a link so you can register for the mini project. Please hand it in like today or tomorrow so we can assign you to a mentor and you can start your project. Also, don't forget to enjoy and stay safe in Corona times. And at the end of this webinar, we have a question and answering session where you can ask all your questions. Yeah. This was the introduction in the mini project. Now we're going to talk to you a little bit about what the Sustainable Development Goals actually are. And I want to give the table to Shayak, who will explain it to you.
Yeah, thanks, Ryan. So, hello everyone. This is Shaik, and I'm working as the in a volunteer role of kind of a regional focal for Icare development, and they're like other humanitarian works from the behalf of South Asian teams. So basically, I'm from Bangladesh, and I'm also a humanitarian worker. So, what do you think? Like, I mean, what are the things that come into our mind when we talk about like SDGs? So basically, it's Sustainable Development Goals. 17 of them, and then of course developed by United Nations for all of our well-being and to be achieved by 2030. So these are the common things, but not only this is a thing from a South Asian perspective. Of course, this is kind of an action plan and kind of a dream for us that these agendas to be achieved on behalf of all of us, which will ensure our well-being. And if not, let's say few of our well-beings, let's say our parents and others are getting old, but of course the young generations and some other generations to come. So with this view in mind, usually we do this SDG thoughts, presentations and others to uplift the young thinkers especially. So doing that, and then being so that we can be capable of think on those SDGs, as well as we can properly implement the main agendas and main sub agendas of the main topic. So with this dream in mind, so many young workers from South Asia, from Bangladesh, India, and other subsequent countries, and also from the relevant organizations, they're working and trying really hard to achieve all the goals. And as a part of that, there are segregated agendas and plans tagged with this Icare and this global SDG week celebration. So with having this in mind, I would like to invite Noor, who is a very young, talented chap from Bangladesh, and he is working dedicatedly, for these development things. And of course, got the opportunity for Icare as well to share some of the basic things, and then we will be heading into some of the main agendas for this celebration of Global. So Noor, please go ahead, share your thoughts.
Thank you so much, Sheikh Brother, for giving me the floor, and thank you for your nice interaction as well. Hi, this is Ambassador Noor Ahmed from Bangladesh, and in this part, I will going to share you a very short video regarding the SDG 1 to SDG 17, so you can find the ultimate information regarding that. Please enjoy and learn the SDGs over here.
In September 2015, the United Nations made history when 193 member states unanimously adopted 17 Sustainable Development Goals, or SDGs, that serve as a centerpiece of its post-2015 development agenda. The goals are: no poverty, end poverty in all its forms everywhere; zero hunger, end hunger, achieve food security and improve nutrition, and promote sustainable agriculture; good health and well-being, ensure healthy lives and promote well-being for all at all ages; quality education, ensure inclusive and equitable quality education and promote lifelong learning opportunities for all; gender equality, achieve gender equality and empower all women and girls; water and sanitation, ensure availability and sustainable management of water and sanitation for all; affordable and clean energy, ensure access to affordable, reliable, sustainable, and modern energy for all; decent work and economic growth, promote sustained, inclusive, and sustainable economic growth, full and productive employment, and decent work for all; industry, innovation, and infrastructure, build resilient infrastructure, promote inclusive and sustainable industrialization, and foster innovation; reduce inequalities, reduce income inequality within and among countries; sustainable cities and communities, make cities and human settlements inclusive, safe, resilient, and sustainable; responsible consumption and production, ensure sustainable consumption and production patterns. Climate action, take urgent action to combat climate change and its impacts by regulating emissions and promoting developments in renewable energy. Life below water, conserve and sustainably use the oceans, seas, and marine resources for sustainable development. Life on land, protect, restore, and promote sustainable use of terrestrial ecosystems, sustainably manage forests, combat desertification, and halt and reverse land degradation, and halt biodiversity loss. Peace, justice, and strong institutions. Promote peaceful and inclusive societies for sustainable development. Provide access to justice for all, and build effective, accountable, and inclusive institutions at all levels. Partnerships for the goals. Strengthen the means of implementation and revitalize the global partnership for sustainable development.
Now I would like to share two different stories regarding the situation, as well as by the implementing project, how this situation come out very quickly. So let me share a very brief two story. All right, now we already know about the SDGs that already discussed the 1 to 17. You can find all the SDGs over here with the youth involvement as well. You can find the number of projects, a number of things are highlighted to implement for the youth for the sustainable development. Let's move on. Story number 1. I hide the country's name. I can see that in the screen you can find a story. Let me share you very briefly that a country that are facing a most energy insecure and most water poor countries. Even this country has a lot of problem regarding the ongoing war. Even this committee, this country has weak generation capacity and very limited access. For that reason, they are not capable to do anything for their development as well as the sustainable growth. And this country name is, I just highlight of the country's name. The country's name is you can find the country's name is Yemen. Yes, this Yemen country facing a lot of problem. Okay, in this situation, how can they execute the SDG and project? How can they change their society, change their community so that? Let me share you. Well, the successful SDG project was enhance rural resilience in Yemen. Basically, this is a solar system project. It can be used for the several way. So maybe you are asking, the solar system is very costly in these war-related countries. How can they do that? Yes, there's a lot of problem, lot of obstacles are over there, but they are doing very perfectly by some other activities. Like they directly very closely collaborate with the ILO for the capacity building. In this current situation and with this project, they are connected with directly closely connected with the ILO for the capacity building. How can they do that? Even though the 160 individuals are totally engaged, while 50% of youth and the women who are actually unemployed because of their unemployment to establish their solar micro businesses. So they are also the team, the project team also interrelated with some financial institution, some private institution, and some other institution to implement their project fruitfully. And they also, even with their project, the UNDP also funded several times to implement this throughout the community. Though this is happening in the rural area, you can find the picture over just you can picture over here like this one and this one. Here is the ultimate implementation of their project. This is all about the project one. Let me share you the project two. Maybe you are asking that what kind of SDGs are working with over here. There is the SDG 7, 9, 13, 15, even 17 SDGs are working here. So let's focus on the another story. As all we are informed that Middle East region, they have been facing a number of problems like drought, desertification, and in their agricultural land, water resources, and some other very much adverse situation that is totally adversely related to the climate change. And that reason, most of the climate adverse calamities started, and they are facing a number of problems over there. Maybe you are asking that in this situation, which kind of project can be implemented? I'm sharing with you very successful project over there, and that is our youth climate movement. Here is the youth is the main platform. Maybe you are asking for the climate change, how can they do that? Let me share you very briefly once again. The Arab youth mainly believe that climate change constitutes a serious threat to humanity. So they definitely fostering the formal and informal regarding the education and climate change and climate related capacity building. Even they can share those knowledge to the ultimate community. How can they do that? How can they do some execute program to implement the situation? Even how can they handle the situation as well? Even these youth are engaged with several international conference, international climate policy session. Because of their knowledge, even they can earn some knowledge from that conference as well. So there's a number of capacity building, training, even the execution building are going on in this project. So this project is very effective. I hope you already understand that these two projects are very implementing for SDG, through the SDG. So anyone can do any project through SDG. So even you can do that. So that's all about my presentation. And now you already hear some of the information regarding the SDG and SDG goal. And now I'm going to give you a link. In that link, you have to fulfill the survey. After your survey, maybe you are asking that what kind of survey. There are several links are given in the chat box. Well, in this survey, there's the SDG knowledge check. It's called SDG knowledge check. In this survey, you have to put some of your information. You will get 5 minutes to fill up this form. After that, we will continue our next presentation. So I'm giving the link to the chat box so you can do that very effectively. Okay, now we're gonna move on. So let me introduce one of the dynamic personnel and one of the leading personnel in the developing side. He has been working a number of years, over 6 years in developing organization as very core members, as well as he is related with other developing activities. He is none other than our beloved brother, Mr. Shaikh Ahmed, as well as I'll also introduce another great personnel, our lovely brother, Takbir Manjar, to share your presentation. Shaikh brother and Takbir brother, floor is yours.
Thank you, Noor. So basically, this is the the project, mini project is that already Rian told about. So the SDG things and the knowledge that we got from Noor and the other subsequent sessions. So those were kind of like, limited to the privileged group, like from us who are actually gaining this internet access and this internet resources to know more about the SDGs and other relevant facts. But there are a big group, who are also a significant part, who can be involved in SDG and other subsequent goals to be reached by 2030. However, due to the lack of resources or their kind of poverty condition and others, they are being excluded from this knowledge and others. So the majority of the groups are living into the streets of the urban areas, if not then probably the suburban areas, and there we know them as the young group and the street children who are very much socially deprived and having so many risks and the vulnerabilities. So even if you are not like, getting the chance to educate them, or even like, some minor chance to educate them, at least we can like, play a vital role to include them, to play some inclusive approach, which is also kind of a fundamental sub-agenda of SDG, to, run the wheel and others. Now, keeping that in mind, we thought of like, coming up with the mini project that we are calling the Journey from the Street project. And the group is, as Noor suggested, the Young Thinkers of Bangladesh. So me, myself, and then Takbir and Noor, we were kind of involved there. So getting into that, let's just give a basic background of the street children. So Noor bhai, can you go to the next slides? Yeah, so basically the reason that they are becoming the street children, we try to kind of narrow it down. So basically the first thing is poverty. That they're coming from rural and poor kind of urban family who are kind of like searching for better prospects, mostly in the urban areas of big cities. Then they are also the victim of the family conflict and abuse. Let's say the parents are kind of fighting, or having like more than one marriages, and then this somehow technically not even like an orphan, but technically they are becoming an orphan and just getting their shelter on the streets, excluded from the home. And that suggests the third part, which is the lack of parental care, because they are not gaining any kind of like parental, because these families are very poor, and even after being poor, with the lack of like knowledge or even the precautions, they are having like more than 2, 3, or even sometimes 4 to 5 children. So that actually creates problem to give them, and also to have good parental care from their parents. And then finally the fascination and enormous freedom in the street, because sometimes even if what happens that they get the basic touch of the streets, and since they are not getting the proper care inside their home, and inside their home they are being humiliated and others. So sometimes even after with good counseling and others, we try to educate some of them, and then kind of motivate some of them to go back to their home, get back to the studies. But the freedom that they're enjoying, and with also some illegal activities that young children are getting involved in, they're kind of like getting very fascinated to those world, and thus they are actually not getting back to their actual social life or to their lives. And now the next slide, Noor bhai, where we'll be trying to view. Yeah, Noor bhai, can you go to the next slide? Yeah. Okay. So basically, what is their like life in the street, like their fascination or their risks and others. So they are basically there are some Bengali terms. So tokai means they are kind of getting themselves involved in the garbage collection. So they collect some of the garbage. Sometimes they get some like tiny little fortune. Sometimes they are getting like two like let's say 2 meals per day from our organization by doing these garbage collections. Then they sometimes carries others luggage into those bus stations and train stations. Then begging is a very big part, because some of them are also kind of victim, and also some of them voluntarily do the begging. That's they thought that okay, this is an easy way money to keep yourself standing in the traffic signal, and then getting some of the kind of like small pennies or fortunes from the rich people. Then they sometimes sell normal papers as well as the newspapers. Some of them just like they're trying to come up with some of the alternative strategies, but not that much. Then a huge portion are kind of collecting plastics and other related issues from the street. And then the last thing is, initially they sometimes, gets into the basic structure of stealing and others. So that is the pickpocketing. That is a very prominent thing that we see that these young children are doing into the major cities in South Asia, especially let's say, if we talk about Dhaka, which is the capital of Bangladesh. Now one thing is very problematic, and that's why we thought that we should be at least starting this into the small scale, that to help them properly do what they do, and at least to remove their major risk. Like they're actually having a big risk to become a victim of child trafficking and child prostitution, especially the female children who are very young and others. So these are the very vulnerable risk parts that they are facing. And that's why we came up with this, idea. So, Noor bhai, can you go to the next slide? Yeah. So, keeping that in mind, there's this, what we thought that, okay, so let's just, start with small initiatives. And thanks to Icare that they have given this such an wonderful opportunity to, kind of show our concept note as a presentation here. And then we'll be following up with the project reports and some mini scales provisions that we kept, along with, publishing an article to celebrate the SDG week on this very topic. And then after that, we have a kind of plan of this mini piloting, even after the SDG week, to check that, how things or our little mini project ideas working. If it works properly in Dhaka, then we have some other regional focals from the subsequent countries, let's say from Southeast Asia. Jolita is also one of them, a core member of Icare. So we will try to scale up it there, also taking her suggestion and leadership in the Philippines, especially Manila, which is one of the major city and similar to Dhaka. And if these two mini ideas get successful, then probably Icare can come forward and scale it up on a larger scale into all these similar urban cities that are there. And this concept was kind of initiated back in, let's say, the start of 2020-21, when three of us actually thought of it. And Takbir, who will be another member of this group, he actually came up with a small idea, and then he did a very extreme, I should say, and very wonderful job. He stayed with these street children for 3 days. He dedicated almost 72 hours, with those street children. He stayed there and he observed, and thus he got very meaningful insights, which actually helped us to build the concept note and others. So that's a very good thoughts Takbir brought, and that's why I'll be inviting Takbir to run you through the overview and some of the target plans and achievements proposed under the project. So Takbir bhai, the floor is yours. Please share us your thoughts and the overall concept of the project. Thank you.
Thank you, Shaikh bhai. Hi, this is Takbir Manja. So I'm going to talk about the rest of the project procedure. First of all, it is very hard time to see the children in the street, and what can we do? We could do nothing, just close our eyes and go for work or something else. But sometimes we think the children are very playing the vital role to build a nations. So in the street children, they are not exception from the other children. So how could I do something for them, or how to create opportunity for them? So is that the quality education is the first priority, to give them a proper educations, and it's mentioned the SDG 4. And for their environment, if the rehabilitation is managing for them and reducing inequalities, that will be perfect for them. And the street children are facing the vulnerable in the street. So environment also the importance issues over there. So if we provide the safety and security as in environment, then it will be more beneficiaries for them. So in our government, a little bit, few NGOs are working for them, but it is not enough for them due to the lack of fundings and rules and regulations. But a little bit of help from our side could be a very, very hopeful project. So a voluntary project can help for the SDG execution. With this successful piloting in Dhaka, we will be looking for the exploiting to other countries with the collaborations. And Nur bhai, the next slide. Okay, sorry for interrupt. So our target is basically is a mini project for selecting the 5 street children, is according to age group of 6 to 12, especially the beggars children, orphan children, or who are really vulnerable situation or doing these hard works or dangerous works. So we are selecting from that perceptions, and the geographical location would be the Mirpur is a most density polluted area in Dhaka city. So next slide, please. So in this project, we are just actually involving less funding and more expert inventions. It's like that we have in any other project, we are thinking about this more fundings. We are buying all the things for this project. But in that sense, we are actually using our expertise from voluntaries rather than less fundings. So such as we are providing every basic needs by expertise voluntaries. Like someone going to be giving the accommodation for 5 children. it could be a 5 volunteers giving they stay at night at their home or at their some places for their savings their environment. On the other hand, they're getting foods from restaurants. So it means we have a lots of restaurants in every streets. They are providing rice, fish, vegetables, and everything. So on that case, the restaurants are provide 3 meals for every day. That will be free for the voluntary project. And it could be a 15 restaurant or 13 restaurant. They are going to be managing their foods for 5 children. On the other hand, the university students or technical vocational trainers are going to give them non-formal education. We'll talk about later about the what is actually I'm meaning for non-formal educations, and getting emergency support for volunteers. Like in street, there's lots of places they are facing problems. And as the Shaikh mentioned about the human trafficking. So in that case, we are trying to manage something that they are easily can get help from our volunteers. And the doctors also give them the free treatments, and the drug is going to give them free medicine. So all the basic needs, if we get from the free from services from our volunteers, then less funding is getting from this project. Next slide, please. Oh, so our activities is like I told you before that we are going to select 5 street children that are heavily needed for this, badly needed for the better income sources. So for there, we are going to select for better income sources like selling chocolates, snacks, tea, or books per their wishes. Like we are going to expense 2000 Bangla BDT Taka is equivalent like $25. So we are going to manage it, the how to sell it, and we are going to monitoring that. And in every day, if they earn like 500 Taka and or profit like 300, we will save it for them for the next 6 months. It may be the 1800 takas. So they are going to invest for their own, and the rest of the money we're going to invest for the other children. So this like there's re-exchanging the money, and they are going to save it, and they are going to help others. And regular monitoring the all the perspectives by volunteers, and the initiating non-formal educations. I mean that they are going to capable to reading and writing for every information they are going to getting from others, or they are helping from others, like supporting from police station or seeking for help, and the calculation or counting money, and few sum and few things that they can need to read and need to write, and they can easily come up with these things. And sometimes we are going to give them some ethical issues and behavior and morality, so they can easily come back to our society as well. And the providing the emergency shelter is means we are going to give door-to-door store. We are going to collecting the 100 volunteers, like 100 volunteers from every store, because and giving them a visible sign. That means the street children can know this sign is meaning that they can help us in emergency situations. So we are going to encourage people, just first if some street children come to your places for any seeking for help, just first give them a shelter and save them from anything else, and then we are going to sort it out what the problem is. Because first of time we are keeping our human trafficking like that, other street children going to fight through this. So visible sign can help them to seeking for support. Next slide, please. So this opportunity created by us for the street children is like safe income generating, which I told you before. So it would be a more fascinating, and it would be a more, because we couldn't have enough money to save all the street children from Bangladesh or all the street children from all the world. So we'll initiating some little bit of, they are now hardworking. So we are just change little bit from dangerous place to a normal place, but they are still earning money. And non-formal educations also give them a proper knowledge how to do it. Rather before that educations, I think they have their own capabilities to doing something. So before we have to surviving instincts improving day by day, then they come to the equal quality educations and safe accommodations we are going to provide them. And the other things, the technical skills we are going to provide it, like after 5 years or 10 years, they are going to be adult. But now they are in street children, but they do nothing and they couldn't know anything. So they are still unskilled worker in this country. So if we provide like a voluntary training, like someone want to be a hairstylist, someone want to be a beautician or computer graphics, anything else. So we are trying to give them a training for after 5 years or 10 years, when they're going to be adult, they get a good opportunity for job or something like that. So this is our main concept, to help them with a little bit fundings and more expertise of voluntary help. So do you have to know anything? Then please give us a questions and we try to answer it.
Yeah,
Well,
so I think, yeah, that was
Yes,
like,
thank you.
nice short introduction from Tanvir. And let me just, say one or two kind of thoughts before going to remarks. So there are a few questions that can come into mind. I can see already a few. So isn't there any free medical in Bangladesh? So basically, there are free things, for the publics and others, but unfortunately, I'm sad to say that the local government strengthening and the institutions that are working for that, as well as the public hospitals who should be giving these free opportunities, very sad but true, they are not working properly. In some of the cities, the facilities are not even there, and wherever the facilities are there, like for example, Dhaka is the target, and which is the capital of Bangladesh, should be having these facilities. Unfortunately, the street children and the people living below the poverty or living in the streets are completely out of the box. So that's the first thing. Second thing is that, the questions can be coming to the mind that, the income generation part, but we will try to do through the basic, factors first. So first we will try to ensure that, they're being in a good place to have this safe environment, meaning that, they're kind of safe from the problem that we have already shared, the trafficking, the child abusement, the child prostitutions and things. First of all, we have to ensure them from the basic part. And after that, we will try to, come up with the income generation part. So that's the thing. And for the income generation part, we will try to follow the globally approved policy of the child labor and other related child acts, so that, some of the initiatives that we are taking, or even we will be improvising during the time of the mini project, are not violating the global rules related to the child acts and others. And as we will be kind of implanting those activities based on the child wish, which is a very normal thing. So it will be not under the child labor. So these are the few small thoughts at an initial stage. However, this is just to give you a hint and an overview of the project. But once we will be coming up with the detailed project plan report and we'll be submitting to Icare along with a detailed article with the similar topic, then probably, everything will be in place, and we will be able to understand every parts and every concept. And the last thing is that during this, before the SDG week celebration, or, as a part of it, and near the end of this one, we will try to initiate some mini scales, but due to COVID and other, we are badly hit into the South Asian part. So that's why even if we are not being able to kind of, come up with a mini scale, what we will do, we will try to take suggestions from those groups as well as some affluent groups to complete our project plan report, so that even after the SDG week, we can carry forward and try to reach our goal. So this is all from the young Bangladesh, and now over to Icare team again. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much.
So much for your group.
Thank you, Shayak and Takbir, for your clear explanation of the kind of projects people can do, even in times of COVID. We hope that this story will have inspired you to do your own project, and also when you start small, how you can potentially scale it up. I do realize we having a bit longer time than we planned. We trying to do it as quick as possible, but I hope everybody can hang around. And the questions we can keep until the end. Now it's up to me, Rihanna, to tell you about how you can become a youth leader for the Sustainable Development Goals. Because now you know about the Sustainable Development Goals, but you don't know yet why they're important for you as a person and for your community. And I'm telling you about that because it's Icare's dream to create a platform for youth all over the world to enable them to reach the SDGs in their own communities. So first I'm going to tell you about what youth leadership is and how you can do it. And then I'm going to tell you about how you can use the SDGs to guide your actions, who you should involve with it, and when you should start. So first, what is youth leadership actually? Because many people talk about youth, but they don't have a clear definition. We define it as people who are in their early careers, between 18 and 34. And that means that people who are 18 now will be 27 by the time it's 2030, when it's the deadline for the Sustainable Development Goals. And it basically means as well that as a young person, if you involve yourself in the sustainable developments now, you're directly contributing to your own future. Because the aim is a sustainable future for everyone, and you are the one who's going to live in that future. That's why it's extra important for you to get involved. And also now you're building your life, and it's good to arrange your life around sustainability. So you know for sure your way of living is possible in now and in the future. But it's also it's also important to not only consider yourself, but also your community. Because if you build a sustainable future for yourself, it also encompasses the whole community. And you know that many marginalized communities face a lot of problems, such as drought and climate change and floods and things like that. So if you help yourself, you help your community, and you help yourself again, because the community is your home and it gives you a sense of belonging. So what can you do actually as a young person? Because I know it can be frustrating to find things you can contribute in. You can speak, you can be a voice for the voiceless or misunderstood, because a lot of global projects are not really tailored to the needs of your community, probably. They may be implementing projects that won't work. So you can speak up and tell people what's actually necessary. You can also act. You can take steps yourself to make a difference, no matter how little or big. And this mini project plan can help you with that, how you can contribute in the way you're able. You can connect by finding like-minded youth and mentors to inspire and motivate. A mentor is usually an older person who can guide you on your steps. And you can find like-minded youth to keep your spirits up, and so you not have to do everything alone. And the last thing you can do is amplify. You can share positive stories or initiatives that are doing the right thing. Because I believe that if we have more stories about positive things and what's possible, more people will believe that a change is possible and that we can reach the Sustainable Development Goals. So share everything that's going into the right direction. So how can you use the Sustainable Development Goals to inform your actions? Well, the Sustainable Development Goals are basically an all-encompassing concept of all aspects of development. So it doesn't really matter what you're passionate about, there's probably a Sustainable Development Goal about it. For example, if you're passionate about ecological things or tourism, or if you love nature, there's SDG 14 and 15 about life on land or life in the water. But if you're more passionate about education, you have SDG 4 about education. If you're more into gender rights, you have SDG 5, reduce inequality. And if you're more into science and studying, you have SDG 9 and 11 and 7, which are about innovation and building good cities and stuff like that. So for every skill and every passion, there is an SDG. And if we all contribute in a way that suits us best, there are many small actions that lead to the complete realization of the SDGs by 2030. And most importantly, you don't have to go it alone, because SDG 17, partnerships to achieve the goals, is added by the United Nations to make it extra clear that we cannot reach a sustainable future by working alone. We have to all work together, and then we will achieve the goals. So the conclusion is that the youth is the future. So to answer my question, when should you act, is now. Now is the moment to determine your own future and of your community. You have to take actions to have a say in your future by either speaking up or amplifying or doing things. You have to raise your voice to tell your story, and you have to find a mentor who can guide your steps. And that's also where Icare Sustainability plays a role in youth leadership, because we offer mentoring and volunteering options, not only through the mini projects, but also through our normal projects. For example, this program is thought of by Amani, or volunteer, and organized by our volunteers Noor and Takbir among them. You can create peer groups for motivation and learning. We're creating a global platform of youth who can help each other to achieve their goals for themselves and the community. And we also empower youth by realizing promising projects, such as this mini project program, but we're also working on vocational job skills and bicycle programs and stuff like that. And of course, the mini project for the Global Week of Action is our way to showing that everybody has the capacity to contribute in their own way. They just have to find the right mentorship and the right idea that work for them. So I hope you join us all, and we will see you in the mini project. And now I want to give the floor to Noor to tell us a bit more about what you can do as a youth during Corona as well.
Thank you, Riane, for your beautiful presentation. Definitely, your presentation brings us so much informative information for the youth. How can they implement their leadership to implement these SDGs for their community as well as the country? Thank you for your great information. And today I am going to share some of the root cause. How can youth involved in the global development? Trust me, in this situation, you are in this Corona situation, you must be busy with doing something unproductive work like spending your time in the social media, spending your time in chit chat, gossiping, singing, dancing, and so many things. Yes, every single thing is positive, but at the same time, overuse of those, that would be a negative impact for your life. Let me start with my presentation with a beautiful quote of Sophia. There is a fountain of youth. It's your mind, your talent, the creativity you bring to your life, and the lives of people you love. When you turn to tap these doors, you will truly have defeated age. Yes, my dear brother and sister, and all the participants, I have to share that very important news to all of you. Look at this. Highest number of young people now live in the world, and whose age under 30. Maybe you are asking that if the young person is a huge one, so why world is not changing with a very positive way? Because of the lot of challenges over there. Because above that, 80% of the youth live in the poor countries. And for that reason, they're not getting the proper education, proper knowledge, proper opportunity to execute their project and their ideas. And so many challenges over there. Maybe you are thinking that how can I change my development within this Corona situation? Let me share you. My brother, in this Corona situation, definitely the devastating activities are going on, the third wave, fourth wave, even sharing a lot of devastating died because of this invisible virus. But at the same time, this Corona brings so much opportunities to you to develop yourself and through so many ways. I'm just sharing some brief way. So how can you do that? First of all, I'm sharing two things: speciality, your passion. My dear audience, maybe you are passionate about the Photoshop. Be master on that. If you are passionate to do some motivational video, be master on that. And if you are good in math, be master on that and participate in the Olympic. Yes, that's what I wanted to share. Focus on your specialty and passion and be master on there within this time. I'm sharing another one that is soft skill. Trust me, my audience, my beloved brothers and emerging participants, because without having your soft skill, you can upgrade your job position, but you can't upgrade yourself, because without having this, you can't change your inner development. Maybe you are asking, what are those soft skills? There's a number of soft skills over there. Communication skill, leadership skill, that's already talked about by Riane. There are problem solving skills, and so many skills regarding exist in the soft skill. And definitely, I'm sharing another one that is hard skill. My dear brother and sister, yes, if you have soft skill, maybe definitely you are 50 and 70% ahead for your development, but hard skill is required. hard skill like you should expert in Microsoft Excel, you should expert in some other software knowledge, you should expert in marketing and some other things. You have to be expert in hard skill as well. Let's focus on another one. How can you develop yourself within this time? And this is, I should say, this is one of the greatest way to develop yourself. Be a volunteer and make the change in your community. Maybe you are asking that how can I involve in any community NGOs as a volunteer? Look at your local NGOs. Look at the national, international NGOs. Be a volunteer of that organization and do some activities for your community. My dear brother and sister, trust me, you will feel the inner peace. You will find the ultimate meaning of life. Even you can feel that the importance of your efforts towards the community. Let's focus on another one. Yes, young entrepreneurs. Within this Corona time, already 16 months, we have been spending, still spending, but this time, most of the young people are engaged with the young entrepreneur activities. And for that reason, they already changed their life. Maybe you are asking most of the youth like me, because of my education, my school, my education institution are remain shut down. Maybe some of my friends are spending the time like me by watching TV, by doing games and some other things. You are wrong, because some of the youth already changed their life. If I want to share my words, if I change my life from their way, I just utilize I just grab those opportunities and resources to change my life. And I'm trying to change my life gradually. So why not you? Let's focus on another one. Maybe today, most of the young youth participate in this webinar. My brother, try to join, try to participate any webinar, conference that would help you to share your words, share your ideas, as well as to learn something from the international panelists. You have to grow, you have to make the confidence, you have to break your inner eyes to do that. And another one, yes, most of the youth already know about that, the Model United Nations, that is MAN. Through this, nationally, internationally, different students can participate and do their activities as well. Okay, move on to the next one, that is, don't stop to learn yourself. So training, workshop, and so many activities. Because without having learning yourself, you can't change your life, even you can't change your community as well. And yes, if you're using the social media, use the social resources, social media resources as awareness perspective. Make a video, share some of your social network for any burning issue. It could help you to provide the information to the society, as well as it will help you to feel that you should do that. I think awareness can be another great way through the social media. Even you can use the TikTok to share you the awareness as well, because most of the people use this platform only for the entertainment, not others. And yes, I have to give all my thanks to all of you. Without further ado, I would like to invite our next presenter, Amani, for sharing the mini project to all of us. Thank you. Thanks for hearing me patient. Assalamu alaikum. Amani, floor is yours.
Thank you, Noor. That was really an interesting presentation. Thank you for the encouragement you gave by all the participants. Let me share my screen. I hope everyone can see my screen.
Yes, it's visible.
Yes.
You can go on.
Okay. Right. So now I'll be presenting you a very important content to continue with the mini projects. I'll explain the project reports format you'll be using in the next 3 weeks. You should submit the report on 28 September, which will then be included in an ebook. First of all, we'll focus on the formatting. Page size should be A4 and margin should be set to normal. As for the headings, Font type is Times New Roman, and font sizes varying for level 1, level 2, and level 3 headings as 36, 28, and 22 respectively. Alignment should be center for level 1 headings and left alignment for level 2 and below. As for the body text, font type is Times New Roman and font size is 12. Line spacing should be set to 1.5 and alignment should be in Justified. Now we are focused on the contents of the report. At the very beginning, you should include your project name as a level 1 heading, then your name or the names of all group members, contact details that can be your email address if you are doing an individual project, or the email addresses of all group members if you are doing a group project, or the link to the website or social media page if you are representing an organization. Then the project start date, end date, project type, that is either individual or group, scale of project that can vary from household level to organizational level, and the SDGs covered by your project. First subsection is introduction. This is a level 2 heading. In this section, you should write a brief introduction of your project in about 150 to 300 words. Next subsection is methodology. Here you should describe the way you conducted the project, identifying all efforts. Mention if you required any funding for the purpose, and if so, the method of sourcing and the project's income and expense account. I'll explain how to prepare the income and expense account at the end. Write all experiences you gained through the project, mentioning if you had to endure any difficulties. Also, you can add photos of the project if you prefer, adhering to the guideline I'll explain in a bit. Use between 250 to 1000 words for this section. Next, you should explain the outcome of your project, describing any method you use to measure the outcome. Mention if you will do any follow-ups on the project, that is, if it's required depending on your project. Use between 200 to 350 words to write this part. And the last part is impact and message. In here, identify how your project contributed to the selected SDGs and write a note to the global audience about your project. This should be something like a motivation message to the audience. Again, here you can use between 200 to 350 words. Also, if you prefer, you can include feedback on how Icare's webinar and mentoring supported your project at the end of the report. Now to the guideline on photos. You can include photos of you and your team engaging in the project. As for photos of receivers, if it's revealing their identity, there should be a letter of permission signed individually from the receivers. This is something similar to the photo consent form we shared with you. Then this letter should be submitted to your mentor. But if the photos are taken from behind or censored to conceal the identity, then a letter of permission is not required. Icare always expect respect towards receivers during any project. Now for the income and expense account. It's really simple. You put all your expenses on the left and all your incomes on the right. Then you take the sum of each section, find the highest sum, and write it between the single and double lines on both sides. Then if you got the lower total in the left, the difference of that by subtracting this total by this should be mentioned here as a surplus. But if it's the other way around, that difference should be mentioned here as a deficit. It's better not to have either a surplus or a deficit because mostly your projects will be one time. But if you need any assistance in preparing these income and expense accounts for your project, you can contact your mentor. So that's all on project reports format. We'll be sending out a document with all this information at the end of the session.
First, let me thank everybody for joining. I know we went a bit out of time, so I want to release everybody who doesn't have any questions. But first, I want to take the opportunity to thank everybody who came. like also Shayak and Takbir for doing the presentation, and Yayanto for presenting his organization. And of course also Amani and Noor for helping organizing this for Icare. So thanks to everybody also for joining, and we will look forward to your mini projects. We will also send you an email with all the forms in case you missed anything, and also with the recording in case you still have any questions.
All right, thank you.
That's it. Bye-bye, and have a nice day, everyone.
Thank you so much.
Bye. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Have a great weekend.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so very much. May God teach all of you.